Mr. Antonucci here, and in this video, we're going to talk about the mean value theorem. This is one of the big three theorems used in AP calculus. Let's jump in here. Mean value theorem. Suppose f is a function on the closed interval a to b. So if you look here, here is a, here is b. The y value here would be f of a, and the y value up here would be f of b. Now, there are two conditions for the mean value theorem. F is continuous on the closed interval a to b and differentiable in the open interval a to b. Now, let me pause right here because the mean value theorem is very, very close to and related to Rolle's theorem, but it doesn't have that third condition that f of a equals f of b. The mean value theorem is also an existence theorem. We'll talk about that in a minute. If f is continuous on the closed interval, differentiable on the open interval, then, so notice the if-then statement, if these two conditions are met, then this conclusion is guaranteed. There is at least one number c in the open interval a to b for which, here we go, f prime of c equals f of b minus f of a all over b minus a. What this means is that if a function is continuous on a closed interval and differentiable on an open interval, then there is at least one point in between those endpoints for which the tangent line is parallel to the secant line. In other words, if we drew the secant line right here that has a slope, call it m sub secant, then there's at least one value in between the endpoints, maybe like right there, for which the tangent line also has the same slope. Another way to think about that is if the mean value theorem's conditions are satisfied, then the instantaneous rate of change of the function is equal to the average rate of change of the function for at least one point in between the endpoints of the interval. So the mean value theorem is what we call an existence theorem. It tells us that if the conditions are met, then the theorem's conclusion is guaranteed. That is, the value of c must exist. However, the theorem doesn't tell us how to find it. So let's look at three graphs again here. Do these graphs work for the mean value theorem? Well, this first graph, it's not continuous on the interval a to b. So the mean value theorem would not apply. Notice this left endpoint here, there is a jump discontinuity. So no. This second one, the function is continuous on the interval a to b, but it's not differentiable on the entire interval a to b, because right here we have a corner or a cusp. This third one, now this is the graph that I used in the video for Rolle's theorem. Is the function continuous from a to b? Yes. Is the function differentiable in between the endpoints? Yes. Those are the only two things. It doesn't matter if the endpoints are equivalent or not. Now notice that if I draw the secant line in between the two endpoints, then the conclusion of mean value theorem would be that the derivative is equal to the slope of that secant line for at least one point in between the endpoints. Well, since that secant line itself has a slope of 0, there's at least one point, and there's actually two for this graph, for which the slope of the tangent line is also equal to 0. So let's do an example. Verify that the mean value theorem applies to the function f on the interval -1 to 1. Find all values of c in the interval -1 to 1 guaranteed by the mean value theorem. Then interpret the values of c geometrically. So the function is a polynomial function, and we know that all polynomial functions are continuous and differentiable for all real numbers. Specifically, f is continuous on the closed interval -1 to 1, and differentiable on the interval -1 to 1. Therefore, the mean value theorem applies. So now we want to find the values of c on the interval. So first thing we want to do is find the value of f at -1, which is 7, and the value at +1, because those are the endpoints of the interval. Also, we want to find the derivative. So f prime of x is 3x squared minus 3. Then the mean value theorem says that the slope of the tangent line, or f prime of c, is equal to the average rate of change of the function over the interval, or the slope of the secant line. So f of 1 minus f of -1 all over 1 minus -1. So f prime of c would be 3c squared minus 3 equals 3 minus 7 over 2, which is -4 over 2, or just -2. And then we would solve the equation 3c squared minus 3 equals -2. So c squared equals, well, if you add 3 and divide by 3, you would get 1/3. Taking the square root, remember you have to count for the plus or minus when you solve an equation involving a square root. So plus or minus square root of 1/3. Plus or minus square root of 1/3 are both on the interval -1 to 1. So there are two numbers guaranteed by the mean value theorem on the interval -1 to 1. As a caution, if some of the values are not on the interval, you don't report those as your answer. The geometric interpretation would be that the tangent lines and secant lines are parallel at those 2 points. Here's another example. We want to verify that the mean value theorem applies for the function root x on the closed interval 1 to 4. Find all values of c in the interval 1 to 4, open interval, guaranteed by the mean value theorem. Then interpret the values of c geometrically. Since f is a radical function, we know that radical functions are continuous on their domains. F is a radical function, so it's continuous on the closed interval 1 to 4 and differentiable on the open interval 1 to 4. Therefore, the mean value theorem applies. And then we can proceed as follows. F of 1 equals 1. F of 4 equals 2. Then f prime of x equals 1 over 2 root x. And then we set up our equation. F prime of c equals f of 4 minus f of 1 all over 4 minus 1. F prime of c, we simply plug c into the derivative, 1 over 2 root c. F of 4 minus f of 1 is 2 minus 1 over 3. So that would be 1/3. Then if we cross multiply, we would have 3 equals 2 root c. Then root c would equal 3/2. Be careful here, you have to square both sides. So c equals 9/4. That value is on the interval 1, 4. Specifically, it is 2.25. Geometrically, this means that the tangent line at x equals 9/4 is parallel to the secant line between the endpoints on the interval 1 to 4. Now, the mean value theorem can also be applied to particle motion or motion along a line. So if the conditions of the mean value theorem are satisfied for the position function s of t, or whatever they name the position function, sometimes you might see it x of t or y of t, whatever they call it, then the theorem tells us that the average velocity of the object equals the instantaneous at least once on the time interval. In other words, s prime of some time t is going to equal s of t2 minus s of t1 all over t2 minus t1. Here's kind of a classic application of the mean value theorem with particle motion. Use the mean value theorem to show that a car that travels 110 miles in 2 hours must have broken the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit at least once during the 2 hours. So if the function s of t represents the distance the car traveled after t hours, its average velocity during that 2-hour time interval would be change in position over change in time. So it traveled 110 miles in 2 hours. So that would be 55 miles per hour on average. Using the mean value theorem, because the function is got to be continuous and differentiable on the interval 0 to 2, there is a time on the interval 0 to 2 hours for which the velocity, or s prime of t, equals 55, which is greater than the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. So the car had a velocity of 55 miles per hour at least once during the 2-hour time period. Therefore, we know that car broke the speed limit at least once. Now, there's a couple additional consequences of the mean value theorem. One of them is that if f prime equals 0 for all numbers in the open interval a to b, then f is a constant function on the closed interval a to b. Similarly, if an object moving on a line has a velocity v equal 0 during a period of time, then the object is at rest during that time period. If the object has a velocity of 0 over the time interval, it doesn't move during this interval of time. One other consequence is if we look at two functions, f and g, if the two functions are differentiable on an open interval a to b, and f prime equals g prime for all numbers x in the open interval a to b, then there is a number capital C for which f of x equals g of x plus capital C on the open interval a to b. In other words, if two functions have the same derivative, f prime equals g prime, then the functions differ by a constant and the graphs are vertical shifts of one another. If we look at this equation right here and we solve that for c, that would say that f of x minus g of x equals a constant. So let's think of two functions. F of x, let's say it's equal to x cubed plus 1, and g of x is equal to x cubed minus 7. So the first one, the derivative is going to be 3x squared. And the second one's derivative, g prime, is also 3x squared. Now notice f and g are both cubic functions. F is the cubic function shifted up 1 unit, and g is the cubic function shifted down 7 units. So the derivatives are equal, and these two functions differ by the constant 8. If you subtracted the two functions, they would have a difference of just 8. Okay, that's it for mean value theorem. Hope that was helpful to you. If so, please do subscribe to the channel as I'll be releasing more videos for calculus, and give this video a like. It definitely helps out the channel.